Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Let us give a few more minutes so we have more participants joining us. Let's start in 2 minutes.
Also, guys, I'll give you some housekeeping rules. So, if you have any questions, you can drop the questions when the presentation is already going on. That's not an issue, but we'll only be able to answer those questions after the end of the presentation because we'll also have a separate Q&A session. So, you can hold your questions till then. You can ask them right now, but we'll be only able to answer them after the presentation is done. Sridhar, can you start sharing your screen and just keep the first slide open? Yep, that's fine.
Okay, let's start. So, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So, we're going to discuss about uh, how we're going to fix your profile for an Ivy League worthy. How do you prepare your applications so that you meet the requirements of Ivy League programs. And so today we'll be focusing on both master's and MBA programs. And I would like to share about myself. So I'm the presenter, Sridhar. I've done my MBA from Columbia. I've been doing admission consulting for last 3.5 years. And as of today, I have like 150 plus students who have admitted to top 15 schools, including Ivy League programs and other business school programs. And our co-host is Anushk. Anushk is he's the founder of Go Abroad. And Anushk has himself graduated from Notre Dame University. And he did work as a product head and product lead in a tech company before joining us. And yeah, let's take the next steps now. So first, we're going to understand what are master's programs looking for in candidates, or how are applications being evaluated if you're applying for an Ivy League program. So many times when I ask students, like, what do you think is the best application? Students have different different points with them. Some say they're looking for someone who creates impact, or some say who have great GPA, or some say who have great tech scores, or some say who have good leadership qualities, or some say someone who has a great volunteering experience. But the point which I feel most of them are missing is connecting the dots. So no matter, when I say connecting the dots, okay, let us say someone has a high GPA, high volunteering experience, high leadership experience, and great work profile or professional experience. But even then, they are being waitlisted or rejected. And there are some people who have low GPAs but high GMAT GRE scores and great work experience. Uh, how are they getting in? And there are multiple permutations and combinations that are happening in applications. So first, the core point you need to understand is, how are these applications being evaluated? If you understand how are they being evaluated, maybe you could then structure and understand what schools are looking for. So because that's the practical point of view you need to understand, so you can prepare your application according to that. So there are three areas of evaluation that happen in a master's application. First is academic evaluation, second is professional evaluation, and third is your personal story and fit. Now let's understand what does this mean. Academic evaluation, as you know, your GPAs, your strong grades, your coursework, your research work, they really matter, you know. Then comes the professional evaluation. It shows about your internship letters or your resume, or your referrals, who are recommendation letters, who are you getting these recommendation letters from, are they relevant to the course you're applying to? And then comes your personal story and fit. So what does this personal story or fit or volunteering and community experience, which people keep talking about? So when you're applying to a specific school, showing your academic evaluations and showing your professional evaluations, and you're telling school, listen, I want to come to this program and achieve sorry, and I want to achieve certain, I want to reach a specific goal, and your school is something that can provide me resources. So when you tell school that I'm looking for this specific resources from your school to achieve my goals, they are trying to evaluate a point, like, is your story capable enough to achieve those goals when these resources are being provided? So how will they evaluate that? How you participated in a specific volunteering activity, or how you showed up in a community service. Because when you show up and when you try to solve problems, that is what they want to see. Are you someone who can get into the industry or a community and solve problems? That is what they're looking for. So that evaluation is also done in your application. Now, breaking it down further, academic evaluations, yes, if you're looking for a specific course, like you're applying for masters in computer science or data science or finance or any specific courses. So what they're evaluating your academics, capabilities, how you have performed in specific subjects, and I'm talking about the undergrads, of course. How you and if you have taken any advanced courses, or if you're meeting the prerequisites also, or what are you trying to do to meet the prerequisites? Because many times I see that students switch from mechanical to computer science. So you need to show them that you are prepared to take up this program and there's a purpose behind it, academically also. So there should be a strategic alignment with what courses you're choosing and why you're applying. And also, uh, if you're moving from mechanical to computer science, I'm just giving an example. So have you taken internships to show that you're focused or interested in computer science, C++, Java, Python, or have you done any programming? Have you done work with any specific internships? Or, these all things add a lot of value because they want to see your quantitative and analytical skill set also. So please try to align these points academically. Yes, there could be situations where your GPA may be low. So always address it, like why your GPAs are low if there are optional essays being provided by the schools. But at the same time, uh, look at the core courses grades, and try to do the prerequisites if required. It's very important you do that to show your focus and attention towards your goals which you're trying to achieve, and how this specific master's program plays a very important role. Now, understanding what is professional experience required. Yes, master's program do not require professional experience always, but sometimes 1 year, 2 years, they are helpful. Like masters in management, masters in finance. In fact, others, data sciences or computer science, yes, they do help in this. Because what happens is, like I said, if your academics are, just meeting the class profile or less than that, not meeting the class profiles, you could pull up on professional experience. So how do you do that? You show your internships, projects. You show that you're completely focused on getting this specific direction, like because you have a goal, you have a vision to achieve. And your reference letters or the recommended letters are very important to show that you can be a successful leader in that specific industry. You have that problem solving skills in that industry. So let me give you an example. So you're a candidate who is applying for masters in finance. So you could show some equity research internships, or you could show some financial modeling experience. Like if you're applying, and you could tell them that, listen, I'm trying to get into corporate finance after this program. So And also you could show some investment analysis or portfolio, like some sort of project, some sort of internships. They are very important. I'm talking about top master's programs. So people might think that, it's okay. It's everything is okay, but the only way you can glorify your application is trying to show things beyond average student would do and showing your passion towards that specific career trajectory. Now, how do you write these SOPs? That's very important. So, see, when you're applying to a specific programs, the most important thing I tell students is, in fact, the first question is why a specific program? You need to really understand. It's not just about moving abroad or studying in US or studying in any UK, Europe, or any other country. You need to understand why a specific course, and not just saying that I want to get into consulting, I want to get into this, I want to be a Microsoft project manager or project lead or some analyst. No, you need to have a specific reason. And just imagine an admissions office who has been working for 25, 30 years, how many applications they would be evaluating over time. So, and most of the stories are very, they are very familiar with most of the stories. I see students saying that, since my childhood I've been watching my dad working in Google or something, and then I want to do something like that inspired me. No, it's not about your dad or what it inspired you. Yes, I understand inspiration stories are important, but also what have you done in the past that is helping you trigger your actions for the future. So, for example, you have done your computers, you have done mechanical engineering, let us say, and you're trying to focus into computer science. So, have you taken internships? Is what that is important, because that is where you're going to connect the dots. You can say that while working as a mechanical engineer at, let us say, for example, a company like TVS, but you have joined as a software engineer in a mechanical company, and you started executing things on, maybe you're working on something like combustion engines or something related to automobiles, but you have found an interest in software engineering where you have used software courses. That is what triggered your actions to take up computer science, because you have a goal to get into automobile engineering, maybe automobile industry, but you want to focus within the software industry. And you realize that maybe CS or AI, ML, or whatever it is, courses are relevant and directly connected to this. And after this, working in this specific industry, what is your vision you're trying to achieve? You are going to clearly state that in your SOPs. So always have a clear, impactful SOP that tells or shows a direction what you want to achieve. Don't randomly say, I want to get into computer science and get into Amazon or Google and just randomly give them, because uh, your goals and vision actually matter. Because something I realized with Ivy League programs is this: they're gonna they might they might not ask you this question, but I think they do think about this. Like, if he doesn't come to my program, can he still become a project head or project lead or project analyst? That is the question they would ask. Like, if he doesn't come to our university, if he goes to another university, can he still do it? So that is very important for you to uh, share, like, why this university matters, what are the resources they offer, and what is it that helps you to achieve that. For that, you need to have a clear, impactful driven SOP, so you can connect the dots about the resources schools offer you. And just to show you an example, you cannot just say, I want to explore finance because you want to get into masters in finance and all. It should be like, I want to build a, like I've shared with you, valuation driven investment insights, and it should be tied up to your courses you have taken. If you have not taken any courses, you can be smart about it by connecting it to calculus, and try to do some brainstorming yourself, or talk to your consultants and figure out, admission consultants, and figure out, like, can I connect calculus to valuation driven investment insights? Can I connect probability to this? So these grades on your GPAs on your undergrad, they're very important. So to connect those with the goals you're trying to achieve. Yes. So another point in your SOPs or the program's strategy when you're choosing a program is, like I've shared, you want to get into data science and you want to work in a specific role in a specific company. You need to share with the schools uh, schools are going to evaluate if you have really done your research on the school. It's very important. Like, I'll give you an example. So when I was in Colombia, I had a friend. So he worked in a energy finance for Indian government, and while he was studying, he tried to build his relationships with the professor. And for his internship, he was being recommended for Goldman Sachs. So, and the professor has recommended him. So, you need to, and in your essays, when you can write this, like saying that, uh, as this professor works closely with Goldman Sachs on their research and all, I would like to be part of that, to understand how this equity research or something is done. I'm just giving you an example for finance. Similarly, in computer science, there are many professors who do research in different companies or different organizations, or you need to do your survey. You need to pick a professor, talk about the research the schools are doing, and you could be part of that research. It shows your passion that before you get into that specific role with Amazon or Google or what, if there is anything aligned with the school that could help you connect those dots, because this shows school that, okay, this guy has prepared his career trajectory, and he's showing us that yes, he understands the resources we are offering, and school really appreciate that this guy has done his research. So always study the employment reports, talk to the students and ask them relevant questions. You're not talking to students to find out, is the school good, is this how is the residential. I know students ask funny questions even today. People reach out to me, they ask me funny questions, like they ask me, like, what do you think about this school, what is the ranking and all. Yes, that's fine, you can ask them, but your top three questions should be more about what are the courses, what are the curriculum, how is it helping out, how is the professional support offered, how is uh, what kind of companies can I focus on. And you can also tell them that, listen, I want to get into this company in this role. Can this school offer me anything? Are there any conferences? Are there any, where you can connect? These points actually make a lot of difference in your application, because schools understand that this guy has done his research. He exactly knows what he wants from our school. That is what schools are looking for. Now let's move on to understand what are MBA programs, in case we have candidates who are applying for MBA programs. So let me break it down for students who are applying for MBA programs in top schools. So by the way, it's not just top schools, any schools, so uh, it's very rare that all Ivy Leagues offer scholarships. Some of them, like 60%, offer scholarships. But for schools, if you're looking for top 15 or 20 schools, whatever process I'm teaching today, if you can write them, connect the dots really well, there is a high possibility of scholarship. Trust me, they could be low GPAs somewhere, low scores, or low professional experience. But if you can connect the dots and do the research, as I'm saying, there's a high probability you could hit scholarships. So anyway, let's move on to understanding MBA programs. Again, I would say your academic evaluations should include undergrad GPAs. They are very important. A good, decent GPA of 7 or above is very important, because recently I did have a student with 7 GPA and 332 GRE. He got a scholarship admit from Cornell. He got an admit from Duke, and now he's applying in round 2 to other prestigious schools. So always have, at least try to maintain 7 on your GPA if you're still at undergrad and if you're attending this session. If you're not, always write an optional essay if you don't have 7. And the whole idea of this undergrad GMAT GRE course is to show your quantitative skills. Like, I do have students who apply programs with GMAT GRE waivers, and they have received waivers and they've received admits. It's like a 1 in 4 ratio that get admitted when they apply with GMAT GRE waivers. So how do they balance it? Through your quantitative acumen. So you need to show your quantitative skills. So you need to show that uh, like, what do I say? Like, I've done calculus, I've done probability, permutations, combinations, or whatever subjects to meet the quantitative requirements in your undergrad. Another point is the student has completed CA, CFA, CPA, all those exams. So he was showing that his quantitative skills are, like, meeting the requirements. Another thing which another student did was, she was working in Bosch. So she was a, software engineer at Bosch. So she showed that in her work, there are certain quantitative tools that are being required, and she's using them on daily basis. And she's used that to apply for GMAT GRE waivers. But you should also understand when she applied for waiver, she did have a GPA of 8.8. So you can't just say that I'll apply for a waiver with a low GPA and then expect that why I'm not getting admitted, because her quantitative skills are meeting the requirements of waiver, where she's showing 8.8 GPA and she's also showing her quantitative skills here. You need that. You cannot just say that I have a GPA of 6.8 or 7.2 and then say my work is so quant heavy without doing any other courses, and you apply for GMAT GRE waiver, you might get it, but if you don't get admitted, don't question that thing, because uh, admission process is more of a holistic evaluation. You need to understand that. So there are tick marks required in academic evaluation also. So don't just consider things that are flexible or make you comfortable, because it's a holistic evaluation. Okay, let's understand professional evaluation. Yes, MBA schools require some experience, work experience. Uh, so yes, they look at your leadership progression. They look at how you have performed in teams, how you have taken up projects, how you have been owning projects, how is your problem solving abilities at schools, at your company. Okay. And yes, in terms of professional experience, again, professional evaluation, yes, they're looking at your recommenders, they're looking at the clients you have worked with, the projects you have taken, the estimation budgets you have worked on. These things are super important when you're working in this. In fact, I'll share, I do have a student, every year I get at least 10 to 20% of students who have 2 years work experience. Now, many people say, you know, 2 years work experience is difficult. So what I do in those cases is, first and foremost, I try to break down the profile to understand if I could show any progression in their career over the 2 years, the responsibilities they have taken, the type of projects they have dealt with, the type of clients they have dealt with. So it's very important, and the vision they are trying to achieve. And the most important, another question I try to answer in this essays is also about why is MBA most important at this point and not at any other point in their career. So that actually makes a lot of difference in these profiles. So always understand you have to fulfill the professional evaluation. And in this case, after you mention that story, you need to support it with your recommendation letters. You cannot, just because you're working for 2 years in a top company, you cannot just get a recommendation letter from a CEO who doesn't even know or work with you on a project. It's always important you get it from your reporting managers who could talk about your projects, who could talk about your interpersonal skills at work, at how you perform things in a specific environment, or how you do deal with these things. Okay. Yeah, personal evaluation, like I told you, community impact, self-awareness, diverse leadership, these points are very important. So many times I tell students, they say different stories, and some of them even struggle saying that, listen, I've been in corporate world for last 5 years, I've done nothing. No, there's always something going on in your life. It's just that you are not able to brainstorm it. So how do I brainstorm it? Like, was there any family specific situations you have dealt with? Was there anything you have dealt at workplace, even those small things, like there was a uh, I had a student 2 days back. She was telling me that she hasn't done nothing, she's been in corporate world, but then she said that my dad had an accident 5 years back, so I was spending my time in hospital, and um, I was struggling to maintain my work-life balance. So I said, that's a really important thing. Like and then I asked, what did you do at the hospital? She said that she was talking to these patients and old people, and she was killing her time, and it was tough. So I said, that's where everything matters. And did you do anything for these old people? How did you make them feel important? How did you do things? And how are you maintaining relationships with them? So that's where, from there, how you stood up for these old people and built relations. She started saying that she started getting them old age home support because her family members didn't show up. So I said that's what leadership is about. It's not always about doing blood bank and all that stuff. They could be activities you are involved, like gardening with group of friends, or you know, beach cleanup, or whatever it is. So these stories, how you stand up, how you solve problems, talk about you when strong resources are being provided to you by the school. Uh, yes. What do they evaluate? They evaluate your narrative, they evaluate your PMBA identities. How are you connecting the dots, and what are the challenges you have encountered? What are the lessons you have learned, and how do you want to take it forward to achieve your goals and the vision you're looking at? So all these points are interconnected, and it's very important. And that's how, after you write your story, those three evaluations are being done: academic, personal, professional. Yes, this is further to explain about the strategic bridge. So you talk about your pre-MBA experience, you talk about how MBA full, and you tell them what are the gaps in your profile and how will an MBA match those gaps or close those gaps. That's very important. That's where what I call about the resources, because you need to break down the resources further to understand how do certain resources meet your uh, personally, how do they meet the resource, how do they fulfill your gaps professionally, how do they fulfill those gaps academically. That is very important. Identifying those gaps and telling them, this is the vision I have. To achieve this vision, these are the goals I need to reach, which I cannot reach at this point of my career, and your B school offers me these resources. So how you present them in your application, that makes all the difference for you guys. uh, Finally, if I were to compare, most of it is same, but technical evaluations are very important, and especially in master's program, you need to break it down deep when you're going to apply to specialized courses and connect those dots. It's very important because you're trying to build a career trajectory with a vision. So your technical alignment is very, very important if you're applying for Ivy League programs at masters or master's program at Ivy League schools. So that's it for today. And yeah, if in case you have any questions, please reach out to us at topmate.io/go abroad.
Okay, everyone, if you have any questions, you can either unmute yourself or you can ask in the chat, whatever is comfortable. And the topmate.io/cobra, that's not a free consultation. That's a call with either me or Sridhar. So that's a paid consultation. If you want to have free consultations, you can reach out to me over WhatsApp and we can figure something out. I assume everyone has my WhatsApp number. Okay, I got a question from Gia. Which IVs are good for MSCS? So, Gia, basically, you don't have to target IVs for MSCS because the best CS programs are CMU, Carnegie Mellon University, MIT, UIUC. Cornell is up there. Cornell has a good CS program. But for CS, these other universities are better. So you just have to understand which would be the top program for your major. And it doesn't have always have to be an Ivy League university. For MBA programs, do schools give more weightage to GMAT as compared to GRE, or the weightage equal? What do you think, Sridhar?
So I won't say there's more weightage for anything, to be frank, because I do have students who have gotten with GMAT and GRE into top 5 programs. Um, in fact, I think when I applied to Columbia, I applied with both the scores. Of course, I cannot say which one they have considered, but I think, see, if you're an engineer, you can apply with GRE. It's fine. If you're a consultant or a finance, you can apply with GMAT. That's fine too. uh, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to take GMAT just because you're an engineer. You can take GRE. And most importantly, it's more about the exam that makes you comfortable. If you think that you're more in a guy who is into logic and analytical stuff, take a GMAT. If you're more into like, if you think that quant gives you an edge, try GRE. And yeah, uh, I think that's how, just choose the exam, give both the exam mocks, and evaluate whichever mocks it makes you comfortable. Take the course and go ahead with that.
Sridhar, I have a follow-up question for this.
Yeah.
So I have checked class profiles of top business schools, and in those class profiles, usually the average GMAT score in terms of percentile is higher as compared to GRE. Do you know why is that?
Uh, I need more information on this question. If
So
you,
let's say
yeah.
if I'm looking for the class profile for Harvard MBA,
Mm-hmm,
then in terms of GMAT, the average GMAT score would be somewhere around 730, 735, and the
mm-hmm.
average GRE score would be around 326. So 735 GMAT is somewhere around like 98 percentile with 98, 99 percentile with the GMAT focus edition, and 326 GRE is around 85th percentile. So why the
Okay.
difference in percentile?
Okay. So this is more than what you see. You need to break it down more in deep. First
Mhm.
and foremost, I know Anushka has given those numbers, but let's break it down more. So 735 is more of class profile. It's not an demographic profile. So I'm assuming you're applying from India. So
Mhm.
the GMAT requirement will be more, if you're comparing. And when you say average profile, you know how it is considered. There are
Yeah.
people applying with 720 or 715 or 725 or 715 to 755, and they take an average. Now, when it when you're saying that if GRE's class profile is around 326, which should be more, even the website, I think they're been showing as 330 or 332. That means that maybe, let us say, 10 students have applied to GRE through GRE and 25 students have applied through GMAT. So the average profiles are being considered on the number of students that are applying. It doesn't mean that you can apply with 326 and get into Harvard. I'm not saying you can't, but you also need to understand that for Indian demographic, so the holistic application which is being evaluated, that is done with the students who are applying from that demographic. So your quantitative skills are matched with the students applying from that country. Don't just look at 326 or 735 and think that, okay, I'll apply with 326 and I can get it because you choose the easiest one. No, you're not looking at the Indians who are applying. Maybe Indians are applying with 335, 337, and some students from other countries are applying with 310 or 315. And if you're asking how do 310, 315 get in, they could be many things. They could be having, they have completed CFA 1, CFA 2, and they have completed CPAs, or they have other things also. Or maybe they could be someone who is a, I know there's an Olympic swimmer who got in with 318. So, there are many things because she did not get time. Maybe she does not have a time to study for the exam, and she has applied because she is participating in Olympics. And schools do want sports, they do sponsor a lot in US. So there are other factors also.
Follow-up question about the sports candidate. So why would a MBA program want a sports candidate if eventually they want to get into maybe consulting or finance?
No, how do you know they wanted to get into consulting or finance?
Well,
That's my
so,
first question. Yeah.
okay, so if they are a Olympic level swimmer and if they come to business school, they eventually want to get into an industry which the business school benefits them from.
No, so this is what it is. So this is our assumptions that they are trying to get into a consulting or industry. It could also be that the swimmer is trying to build a specific industry or specific, like, related to swimming. She's trying to build something around that, and she has to connect the dots. She cannot just say because I'm swimmer I want to do that. She has to connect the dots. Like, I'll give you an example how do veterans or military people, how do they write their applications? So I did have a veteran who was applying for a business school. So the connection I found in his story was, so he was deployed in, somewhere in Northeast India, and it was very cold there. So he had to wear gears. Gears are like the dress they have to wear to support themselves at those high altitudes.
Mm-hmm.
So how he does that is, how we connected the story is, he's been there for 12 years in army, and now he wants to get into a business school because he wants to start his own business about gears. And he wants to ensure that it's not just the army veterans, but he wants to he wants to tie up with a European brand and launch it in India. So even he could build more cheaper products for others in those villages and tribal areas. So for that, how does an MBA match with his leadership experience? That's how we connected the dots. So similarly,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he showed that he wants to build his venture. It's not necessary that everyone chooses an industry that schools offer or benefits them from. It's more about connecting your story with the program.
Okay, got it. Uh, we also have we also have a misconception around like these business schools, they only take students from target industries. So let's say if you want to apply to Wharton, then they'll take people from MBB or only consulting people. If you want to apply to NYU, they'll only take people from finance industry. So can you break down the different industries these schools actually recruit from, versus is there even a preference?
Sure, sure. So even when I was applying to business schools, I was being told that. But I'll break it down for you. So Kellogg is considered to be marketing heavy school. Stern is considered to be finance heavy school. Wharton is considered to be finance heavy school. So this year itself, I had like 10 admits who are, none of them is from marketing, but they have got into Kellogg. So in round one. So the point here is, like I've said, trying to meet the gaps by resources which schools offer. Now, the second point here you need to understand is, as an Indian, to get a marketing job is very difficult in this country because they want you to have some industry expertise when you are applying for a specific job. So marketing is one of the toughest jobs in US for internationals to get. So though Kellogg is marketing heavy, when they say marketing heavy, let me explain what it is. It's more like the companies that are going to come from marketing to recruit candidates. But it's not necessary that uh, the other companies are not, other industries are not doing it. And most of the students who got into Kellogg through me have all been through tech. So, even though tech is currently not doing great, they are showcasing how they can meet the requirements of that industry and getting into Kellogg. Why? By showcasing the resources schools offer, the professor who's working with. Similarly to Stern, I do have a candidate who has got into Stern through tech. It's not it's not necessary that I have written in applications anything about finance. I've written about tech also. But most important thing is she has done her survey or research about how can she get her goals, which are not finance but more into tech, through Stern. She did talk to students and she figured out that they do get into internships through Stern, also into tech. So whatever I would say, it's more about finding the fit with the program. It's not just about what they are named after, because NYU and Columbia are in finance, I mean, in finance heavy industry, I mean, the location, NYU, because most of the schools, most of the companies have their finance offices in New York. I understand that there's a lot of these companies approaching these top schools. It's mostly like that, top companies approach to the nearest schools faster. That's why they get that brand name. So it's nothing more about you cannot apply. As long as you can find a fit, you're really good at it.
Okay. I have had another question. So I thank you for doing this. Most of the MB profiles I've come across have showcased impact at their workplaces via aspects like revenue saved slash handled that have nothing to do with someone who has more of a technical profile. How could someone from a technical background like mechanical show impact and appeal to adcoms?
The question you asked is not as easy as I can see. normally I need to sit down with a candidate.
Hmm.
So uh, uh, I'll speak about mechanical engineering, but sorry, what was the first part he said? What was the example he gave for the?
So it's like people usually show impact by like aspects like revenue saved slash handled.
Okay, okay,
So
got
if
it,
someone is
got it.
coming from a very technical background, how would they show impact?
Got it. So revenue saved is not an impact. Let me explain you further on this. See, you need to understand what's an impact. Uh, Impact is not about doing things at one time. Like you saved a revenue, you saved a dog. No. Impact, according to me, you have to take it a step further. When you saved a revenue, who benefited from it? And how are you continuing that work so the benefit is taken to a larger community or a group or a sector or industry? That's very important. Similarly, if we are to talk about the mechanical engineering, let us say, like I said, maybe you're working in an automobile company, or you're working in a hardware company, or so how did you make a difference, like sustainability? How did you achieve sustainability for that specific project? Like, for example, let us say, for example, you're a mechanical engineer trying to fix some problems in automobiles. I understand you do it. So why do you do it? You want to achieve sustainability for those automobiles. It may be a small thing. We are not getting into hydrogen, EV, and all that stuff right now. But maybe you're trying to work on some transition or combustion engines. So when you do that difference, what are you doing? You're trying to save energy, or you're trying to achieve sustainability. So how you can take it to the next step is you're trying to show that you want to get into technology transition. So what does that mean? You have been an engineer all over your life. Now you want to make more of a strategical decisions and try to build products or try to govern how decisions are being made for that technology transitions, and why that MBA school makes plays an important role to achieve that impact. So every story has an impact. It's just that you need to have a bigger picture, because if there's no bigger, you may not see the picture when you're working in a company, but your company already has that vision. So that's why you're doing an MBA, to reach that, to be capable enough to make those strategical decisions to achieve those visions.
Got it. Okay. Guys, we might be closing this. If anyone has any more questions, we'll give you 2 more minutes. Sridhar, I have this another question.
Yeah.
What would be a candidate's ideal timeline if he wants to apply for fall 27?
On 27. So what's his what's fall 27? Like what does that mean? Like,
Fall 27, round one deadlines for fall 27. The school starts during August, September 2027.
so not next year. Then okay, the next to next year, right? So yes, and he didn't mention which program also. But if
MBA.
oh, MBA, okay, cool. So if it's MBA, I would say try to get your GMAT GRE in place by next year. And I would say the right time would be like 4 5 months, because it will, the more time you spend with your consultant, it's better, because the story brainstorming, and well, because normally in our process we ask the students to fill a consultation form, and we brainstorm. It gives a clear introspection of your profile. So, and then followed by a resume that takes a 20 25 days edits. Recommendation letters, two recommendation letters are required. 90% of schools have similar recommendations, but 10% have different. So this takes another 25 30 days. And then you have essays, brainstorming, and all. This is like 4 to 6 months is a good ideal time. But yes, I have done fast track on 1 month also, or 20 days also. But if you have time, use it. Don't wait for the last minute.
Cool. Okay, guys. I don't think so. We have any more questions.
Yeah.
So I'll be closing out this webinar. We'll have these webinars every weekend. So we'll have another webinar Saturday. Again, it depends how many people register. If we don't have a lot of registrants, then we might push it to next week, week after next week. But yeah, this would be a regular occurrence. So if you have any questions, if you want a specific topic to be covered, just reach out to me on WhatsApp, message me on my community, and uh, we can make that happen. Thanks, Sridhar. Thanks for hosting
Thank
today.
you, guys. Thank you, Anush. Yeah.
If anyone wants to reach out for any of the things that Sridhar mentioned, you can reach out to me through topmate.io/go abroad. That's a paid call, but again, that's 100% refundable call. If you choose any of our services, that call would be refunded. If you just want to reach out to us over WhatsApp, you guys have my WhatsApp number. I can connect you with Sridhar. So, and again, Sridhar is working with us full time. Sridhar is our lead consultant for Ivy League schools. So, if you have any questions for Sridhar, just reach out to me.
Great. So, thank you, guys. Thank you, Anush.
Thank you.